So welcome to today's quickfire video, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make bass lines like SOSA. We're going to have a look at two of his primary well-known tracks, which is It's Time to Move and Blow. I'm going to show you how to make these presets within Serum, Subboom bass and Operator, so it doesn't matter what VSTs you have, you can make these bass lines. As a bonus, I'm going to put all the presets down below so you don't even have to do it yourself. So let's jump in and have a look at what I made using Serum. There we go, very close to the originals besides a few little tweaks here and there. And this is with no processing either, so you can use these presets as a base and then add your own effects onto it, like presses, chorus, reverbs, delays, to make it more unique and stand out for your personal sound. So let's jump in and recreate the first one, which is from It's Time to Move. So what you're going to need for this is an insert of Serum. And then on a default setting, you're going to have your default shapes with a saw wave. We're going to change the wavetable position to this one here, which is a cross between a saw and a square wave. We're then going to bring the random all the way down. We're going to insert oscillator B, and we are going to change the wavetable to the same position. And we're going to bring random all the way down. Now with oscillator B, I'm going to go for 3 unison. This gives it a bit more width and a kind of detuned effect, which I like. And then we'll bring the detune in so they're just a bit closer together so it's not super spread and giving that super saw EDM vibe. I'm also going to bring down the fine ever so slightly just to give it a bit more of a wobble and a detune effect from oscillator A. From here, we're going to bring both of these oscillators down an octave, and now we can start shaping the sounds with the ADSR and the filter. So for the filter, I'm going to turn this one on, and you can change between 18 and 24, but make sure it's a low cut. From here, we're going to want to go to our envelope 2. Bring this down to a nice short pluck, and then apply envelope 2 to the cutoff, and adjust to taste. Inside the filter, it automatically puts oscillator A within it, but we are also going to want oscillator B. The second most important thing is the noise. This gives it that nice top end pluck. Turn the noise on, level all the way down, then grab our envelope and apply that to the level. I suggest mapping this away from the filter because it gives it a nice contrast and really helps that noise stand out. So from here, let's see what it sounds like, and maybe we need to make a few tweaks just to get it sounding a bit more like the original. Now let's try bringing the resonance up quite high, so probably above 50%. Bring some drive into the filter, like adding natural saturation, bring down the level just to rebalance. And there you go. You could play around with the cutoff. Now to get the bass line from It's Time to Move, we're going to duplicate the whole channel and change some basic parameters. So first, bring the cutoff all the way down, go to envelope 2 and remove all destinations. And you're just going to find a nice sweet spot with the cutoff, maybe bring the resonance slightly down as well. And that's all you really need. You could turn the noise completely off if you wanted to, or add another envelope back to it, but make sure it's really short, so we don't get a plucked sound and we have more of a sub bass. So that's track number 1 done. Now let's bring it down to Blow. So for Blow, we're going to want to go oscillator 1, and we're going to want this on a square wave, and oscillator 2, we're going to want a saw wave. We're going to want to bring down the octave of oscillator A by 2, and then oscillator B by 1. We'll then bring the random all the way down on both of these. And we're probably going to bring the level up because we're going to alter the amp ever so slightly. So the amp, we're going to bring down to a really short pluck. And you could always try and add that slight detune effect if you wanted to. We're bringing the fine down. Next up, we're going to get our filter dialed in. So we're going to go below 18 or 24 again. And we're going to make sure it's going through A and B. Resonance is really important on this bass, so make sure you really bring that one up high. And then we're going to go into envelope 2. We are going to create a very similar envelope to envelope 1 and apply that to our cutoff. Adjust the cutoff to taste. Easy as that. You can play around with the drive, add some fat in there, which brings in natural saturation. Next up, we have Subboom bass. So let's see what I made with Subboom bass. Pretty good and pretty much identical to what I previously made. Subboom bass is much easier because we have a lot of presets to use as a starting point. So let's jump into Subboom bass to get this dialed in. For It's Time to Move, we're going to go Subboom bass, manager, preset bank 3, or you can search for it. And we're going to go to SH2 for the first one. Easy as that. And then we can just adjust our envelope and Q, which is our resonance. I'm going to bring the semitones back up to 0 on this one. And then we can readjust by bringing it down a whole octave, which is 12, to get it right. If you don't like the sound of that, you can change these oscillators out, both square waves, to get a more original sound. And there we go. Easy as that with Subboom bass. Now, if you're wanting to create the bass line for this, all it is a case of changing the filter and the envelope, and practically no envelope. That's Time to Move done. Let's move on to blow. So for blow, we're going to use the SH presets again, but we're going to swap it out to SH1. So by standard, this is what it sounds like. So what we can do here is we can swap oscillator 1 to the square instead of a saw, and then oscillator 2 from a sine to a saw. And then we can adjust the envelope and the Q. Remember, this one's really important to have high resonance. And sometimes with Subboom, I find that it's a bit more fiddly to set up compared to Serum. So you may just have to spend a bit more time dialing in your cutoff, Q, and envelope to get the desired sound. But it's as easy as that. Blow preset in Subboom. Now, finally, let's move on to those Ableton Warriors with just operator. An operator is sounding a bit like this for the 2 tracks. Still pretty good, but we don't have as much flexibility with operator, and it's just not as good sounding as the other synths, but nevertheless, we can still pretty much get exactly what we want. So let's jump into it and finish this off quickly. In operator, we're going to want to go down to our modulation matrix. We're going to swap it to the horizontal line like this. This means that operator isn't acting as an FM synth, it's just acting as a normal subtractive synth. Now let's jump down to oscillator 1, and we're going to go for a square wave. Personally, I like square D. We're going to go into oscillator 2, and we're going to go square D as well. We're going to bring down the course of both of these. From here, you could adjust the level of oscillator B as well, dial it in. And you can adjust the fine slightly for that detuning effect. Now we're going to go over to the filter. From here, we're going to then go down to the transposition and drop it down to 12. We're then going to go to our filter. We're going to swap it out to OSR, which is an emulation of an old synthesizer filter. We're then going to bring the filter drive up to add that kind of fatness into it. Bring back the frequency, bring up the resonance, bring it in some envelope, and then we're just going to play it and adjust it all to taste. By now, you probably gathered, if we just wanted to make the low end for this, we would just take off the envelope, adjust the frequency and the resonance, and that will be done for operator. So for blow, we're going to change the modulation matrix again. Oscillator 1, we're going to go to saw. So for oscillator 1, we're going to drop it down to a square wave. D again is my preference. Drop down the course. And oscillator B, we are going to go for a saw wave. and saw D as my preference there. We're going to drop down the transposition by -12. And now it's a case of just adjusting the ADSR and the filter again to taste. And we're going to go OSR or MS2. Both of them are really good. Bring up the filter drive and bring up the resonance. Adjust the taste, and then you are good to go. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that short video. Remember, all the presets are down below. I've saved it all in the Ableton project for easy access. Anyways, I'll catch you in another video.